Welcome back everyone to River and Sea, where today we are going to finally meet with Riandar. I hope she hasn't been too impatient while waiting for us. Ooh, we've got a nice torch over here. I'm pretty sure that I've forgotten about the existence of that torch. Hello there.
The statue of Luilos is said to be among these ruins.
Thank you for meeting me here. The statue of Leolund is said to be amongst these ruins. I dare not tread there myself, but you're certainly capable and will be far less in danger, I'm sure. Please, look for the statue. So I need to find the statue of Leoloth, and while I'm up in the area, I should also be looking for the place to read this Tirn Gorthod, the southeastern reaches of that, where I hope to be able to read this journal. Now, right now, which of these should I head for first? I'm assuming that they're fairly close together. I hope I'm not wrong, because it's pointing me towards the... This appears to be the location about which... Oh! Alright, I was expecting this to be inside of that up there. I completely forgot that there was a step where you're right over here. Alright, well, let's read this. Oh! The Witch King! The writing is so evocative that you can almost imagine the horrors that here transpired. If it involves the Witch King, it's most definitely a horror of some sort. After Ruidaur's most recent defeat, the armies of the Witch King required time to recover and rebuild. During that time, their evil master turned to sorcery to bedevil the enemies. In secret, he came to the barrows of the way it walked amongst them, whispering to the dead. Unknown to those living nearby, long-dead lords and kings stirred in their tombs, infested with fell spirits out of Angmar's darkest pits. At the Witch King's bidding, they emerged, legions of the dead moving silently through the fog, preying on any who strayed too near. Look. Amondir.
The plague of the dead worsened, and even the children of Cardolan were not safe from it.
Countless children were stolen from their beds, or vanished from within otherwise sturdy and unyielding walls. Desperate to put an end to this nightmare, King Amondir set forth on a quest to find the cause of the dead's unrest. He was the Lord of Tirn Gorthod, after all, and the Keeper of the Barrows. What had he to fear from the mist that settled upon the buried mounds? Was it not his people who were buried there? Were they not his own ancestors, his own kind, his own subjects? He apparently didn't know that they were infested with fell spirits. If he could not ease their burdens and restore their restful peace, who could? Even as I write this, I find myself hoping beyond hope that the Lord of Tirn Gorthod could put an end to it. But this has been my lifelong study, and I know how this tale ends, and it does not end with Amondir for all his courage and his duty. Alright. Prince Amondir disappeared amongst the barrows. He was never seen again.
It is hard to listen to the words of my friend Nandir, and know he will write no more.
I will keep this journal in memory of him, and I would do so even had we no need of the knowledge contained within. Was never seen again. What happened to the rest of Narndir's account? There are several pages missing here. Even if that is the end of Amandir's story, there must surely be more for Narndir to write. See? The account resumes here, beyond the missing pages. But what was removed? And who removed it? Now that's a puzzle. And it's also an upgrade. Whee! And a new level.
I think you should return to Ceylon to speak with Hondarad.
Alright, let's speak to Cyril. Alright, as soon as I figure out where did those gloves go? Oh, there they are. After the missing pages, Narndir writes of Dol Ernil, the keep from which the Prince of Amandir ruled. I will go ahead and see what I can learn from there, but I think you should return to Ceylon to speak with Hondarad. He knew the location where Narndir kept the journal. Perhaps he will know why some of the pages were removed. If you solve this mystery, I will meet you again outside of Dol Ernil. Alright, back to Hernet. Now how far am I away from the statue? Oh, that's a pretty long way. Since I'll eventually have to return to Dol Ernil in continuation of this quest, I decided to head back to Ceylon first. Hello, I was wondering if you know anything about some missing pages.
Missing pages? Cannot say I know anything about that.
But I don't think that Narndir would have torn pages from his own journal. Someone else must have removed them. Although, I can't understand why such a one would return the journal to its hiding page afterward. There was one day that I spoke with Narndir, and marked that he acted quite strangely, however. I encountered him on the Greenway, not far from the lone square ruins that stands beside the road to the northwest of Hernet. Now that I think on it, his manner was quite peculiar, and it seemed that he was not his usual self. What did he say? He said something strange to me, but I can't remember it. If he did remove pages from his journal, which was not like him at all, that is the only day in which I would believe it. I wish I could remember what he said, but perhaps it will come to me. You should search the square ruin beside the road in Redamore. Maybe you'll find something that will shed light upon this mystery. Right. To Redamore! I can only think that this is the square ruin that he was talking about. So let's see if we can find anything there that will shed light upon this matter. And considering how dark the matter is, it needs all the light it can get. Let's first take care of this wolf so it will not interrupt me, because I'm getting tired of being interrupted while reading. Ah, hold on, here's a box. A small box rests here, but its lock is broken and it is surrounded by orc footprints. Oh? Let's see what's in here. The wooden box is empty, already ransacked, and its contents by orcs, half-orcs, or goblins. Collect the missing pages of Narndir's journal from orcs, half-orcs, or goblins in the South Downs or Redamore. Oh, you've gotta be kidding me. Now, where am I gonna go? Do I ever go all the way to Karanost for that again? I know. There are probably other spots, but certainly not eaten by wolves. This quest is showing why I have 5-minute cooldowns on this character. I mean, really. Yes, I decided to come back to Ceylon and go into Karanost because that's the easiest place for me to get to. And I can get in here and out of here quite easily. So, let's go and deal with some of these orcs. There you go. And you. I'm assuming that some of these will have some pages, right? Maybe I should. Yes. Yes, they can have. Of course. We have to figure out collected missing pages of the journal. Alright, it's gonna be one of those quests. So about a 25% drop rate. And I need 6 of them. Now, why they're split amongst different orcs, I have absolutely no idea. Probably writing something on the backside. So I suppose whatever's on the black side would be in black speech or something like that. Okay, well there's another page. I'm sure eventually I should be able to gather the lot. Now that I have the papers, let's see if I can assemble these things. Alright, let's sort through these again. I hope that these are the right papers. The torn pages fit perfectly neatly together, and Narndir's journal is restored. Alright, good. My hand shakes to record this, and I confess trepidation should I write this account at all. But that's the duty of an archivist, is it not? To record, to remember, no matter the cost. Accounts of Prince Amaldir's disappearances are few and scattered, but those that remain chill my blood. It is said that his cries of terror echoed amongst the downs for 3 nights after he disappeared, and when they at last gave way to silence, the fog rolled in from the barrows deeper than ever. 3 sons Amaldir had when he died, and the curse that came to fall upon the lamb could not be escaped. One of the dead, a pale shade who appeared as a man shaped in darkness in the fog, his eyes glowing as cold, blank white, appeared several decades after Amaldir's disappearance. It seemed intent on hunting them, stalking and slaying them one by one. Prince Amanthal, eldest son of Amaldir, was found slain, but that was not the worst. Someone had garbed him in white, and he lay before the barrow gate in the downs after becoming separated from his companions in the evening. His face was shriveled, as though he had aged 100 years in a single night. Scarcely 2 years later, his brother Thanodon met an identical fate, though in his case he disappeared from Dol Ernil itself. Men whispered that it was a grey fear that had haunted the children of Cardolan, and if even the sons of vanished Prince Amaldir were not protected from it, who could claim safety for any? I hesitate to write of Dol Ernil's curse, to write of this grey fear, but it is my duty. And I have sworn to the Dunedain, so I have sworn to uphold the truth, and write it here in this journal. Alright, well, let's get back to Meneldir. I think this is where I met Meneldir last time, but he said that he'd be going further into the ruins, so further into the ruins I go. Anyway, I've got this quest arrow showing me that's 350 meters away. If I calculate things, they should soon be right after I crest this hill. Assuming I can actually crest. Yikes! Alright, now. I think our ranger is somewhere. Ah, here he is. We have a camp here with Gorwin. Hello?
There you are, my friend. I have been speaking with Gorwin, a ranger who keeps watch over Dol Ernil.
And we are both very interested to hear if you have learned anything about Narndir's journal. She doesn't know him when he lived, so I have been telling her stories of our childhoods. It's good to remember, I have to admit, but what have you learned? There it is again. The Grey Fear. There's more to learn about this foe, I know it, but listen to this. The battle plan of Angmar was threefold. But Prince Ostir learned too late that more than just Amonsul was endangered. He rode north to the defenses of Weathertop with most of his household, and only then, the southern sky filled with the smoke from a great burning, did he realize that Cardolan had been ravaged while he was away. He fought the battle of Weathertop through eyes bleary with tears, and only when it was done did his king give him permission to return. He galloped with utmost haste back to Dol Nil, but he was unprepared for the sight that awaited him in the throne room. These pages speak of the throne room of Dol Nil. That is where you should read the rest of this account, Pine Sea. Gorwin tells me that the throne room is north of here, and up several flights of stairs. Of course it is. Yeah, right. And fortunately, this is one of those locations which has always been ripe for things going wrong. So let us get through here. Yeah, this is very ughy and all. Alright, I guess we can follow the arrow, but of course, it's the flight of stairs that make that a non-true... Oh, well, at least we've got a stairway right here. And of course, we've got these... Level 30! A level 30... I don't know why I always had trouble remembering the names of these gaunt men. I mean, they do look quite gaunt, so you would think that I would remember that little point. Oops. Ah. Let's get that out of here. Alright, let's see. That Guntman is level 26, so that at least is reasonable. Alright, we'll start with you. Always go after the Guntman first, right? Aha! That's why. Now, is this the throne room? This appears to be the location which Nardir wrote. Alright. Actually, the statue should be around here also. Oh, there's the statue I'm supposed to find. Let's make sure I take care of that before I... Hey, stop running! Alright. You can go down. There we go. Now, what have we got here? A plaque reads, Loyloth, Princess, Mother, Wife, Champion. Behind the plaque, you find a scroll. Okie dokie. Well, I'll bring that to Riengar when I next see her. But for now, let's take care of the throne room. Yes. So let's read it. The writing is so evocative that you can almost imagine the terrible sight that awaited Prince Ostir. Is this the story seat? Oh, the stone seat. Oh, is that what? You've discovered the stone seat. Alright. By the time he finally reached Dol Nil, the Prince Ostir's keep was a ruined shell. Its people lay heaped and bloody in the streets, the heads of its defenders mounted on stakes above the gates. Of his mother Loyloth there was no sign at all, and in the shattered hall, seated upon Ostir's throne, was the Grey Fear. I hesitate to write what I have learned, but I must. I must! My duty compels me to write it, to write the truth. But can it be right to put the words down of such a horror, such shame as this. It wars within me. Prince Austere stood at the charnel house that was erst Ernil, and he looked in the eyes of the creature that sat upon the throne, and he knew the identity of the Grey Fear. It was Prince Amandir who sat there, Austere's own grandfather. But the servant of evil that stared back was a stranger entire. With a horrible smile upon its mocking visage, the apparition raised its hand, pointed at Amandir's terrified grandson, and the dead rose. And the dead rose. Alright, let's see. Here's the next thing to consider, right? Oh, the spear. The Whites had simply been waiting for their master's command. Now they emerged from amongst the slain, including some freshly killed in the recent battle, and they fell upon Austere and his knights. Panicking, the prince fled the burning stronghold, escaping into the Barrow Downs. But he might as well have been tried escaping a smith's hammer by fleeing to his ammo. The Angrim were waiting with an ambush for him, and amongst their number were hillfolk, orcs, and cultists of the Witch King. The dead drove Austere's dwindling company straight towards the enemy force, and there in the darkness, caught between the living and the dead, every last one of Cardolan's defenders died. Prince Austere perished last of all, sobbing with despair, as one of Cardoon's warriors drove a spear of cold iron through his heart. His bones and those of his company vanished among the downs. I have written it. Is that what you wanted of me? I have finished it. My duty is fulfilled. But the account is too terrible. I will tear these pages from my journal, and I will hide them. Yes, let none know how badly the men of Cardolan failed. I will bury the Witch King's victory as deep in a deep hollow, and so triumph over Angmar myself. The Grey Fear has not been seen in hundreds of years, and I will not give the creature life by letting this account be read by anyone. If there is any need for these pages in the days to come, I will retrieve them myself, but I can see no such day ahead of us, and that is a blessing. Oh my. Alright, back to Goran's camp. Well, that was a nasty story.
Nandir was at Sarn Ford when the Black Riders attacked.
And Narndir fled, as the others of the Dunedain did. We found his body not far from the Greenway, and I thought that perhaps he made for the gathering places of his kin. But what if that was not so? What if he made instead for the lone square ruin that stands further south beside the Greenway? I wonder. I think he saw the return of the raids and believed that the Grey Fear would once again haunt the lands of old, Cardolan that was. I think that he was running to retrieve the torn pages in his journal, Pinesea, so that the Dunedain will know the terror that they may be up against. He wanted to arm them with the knowledge of what they might face, but he was struck down by the Black Riders, by the Nazgul, before he could reach the place where he had hid the true account. I think Narndir knew the peril, and died trying to warn us of it. The Lord of the Nazgul's plans to raise the Grey Fear from his slumber, endangering all of the North. And that is a reasonable upgrade.
I see the hand of the Witch King all about us.
Yes, apparently so. I will tell Goran what we have learned of our foes, but She has kept watch on Dol Neil for longer than any of us. I suggest that you ask her what needs doing in the keep of a blighted Tirn Gorthod. I see the hand of the Witch King all about us, and it must be opposed if we are to be able to oppose it. Well?
I'm younger than Meneldir by some years.
Though Menelder and I both grew up in the angle of Methethil, I did not meet him before he left us. His name was always spoken in whispers, a warning to the children that not everyone should take the oath, that not everyone should swear to the life of the Dunedain. I do not mean to injure your feelings, Meneldir. What I mean is this. I expected a monster. When you came up to this camp, I thought that you must be fleeing from hardship, escaping from some trouble of your own making. Such were the tales that we were told in childhood. But I find instead that you're a man, not a monster, and you fight on behalf of those who cannot, willing even to return to your former kin to bring them warning, though they sting you with the barbs of mighty tongues. I see honor in that. But there are monsters out there, Pine Sea. Real monsters. I do not need to hear the full account of Menelder's fallen friend to know that, for I knew it already, if not for its true extent and depth. White stalked Tirn Gorthod, and there were other dangerous threats as well. Spine Crabine, pestilential crawlers, and the gaunt men who prowl amongst the barrows. Each trouble the Dunedain and their allies in this land. There are swords, both within the keep and without, that exude frightening auras of evil, and they must be collected and destroyed, despite the presence of their terrible protectors. Can all of this be done? Yes, and I know who exactly will be doing it, and that is me in the next episode of River and Sea.